Hey, what's up guys? It is JTrades here, back in our brand new video, and in today's video I will be doing a weekly trading recap session today from the week of February 27th to March 3rd. So without further ado, let's jump straight into review. And before you guys get straight into the video, I want to make sure you guys are subbed and turn on those notifications because this is a brand new channel. So I'm looking to grow channel and looking to get some good support on this video, and I'll be doing future reviews like this. So let's get straight into it. So on the 27th, well, I'm not going to go to this 27th actually. I'm going to start on Tuesday, not Monday, and I'll tell you guys the exact reason why I want to end it on a Monday review rather than starting on a Monday. I'll tell you exactly why if you guys stick till the end of the video. So let's first start off on Tuesday because something very important I want to teach you guys on Monday. But anyway, nonetheless, on Monday or Tuesday, I decided to get into calls. 228, get into calls here at 10:17. So let's check out the timeline right here. I have the 1 minute chart up. I got into calls basically when I saw SPY reject down here or bounce down here. It bounced into my demand zone right here, which I had graphed out, as you guys can see, and it was a very small bounce. Honestly, it wasn't as big as the bounce I expected, but it was still a gain nonetheless. Profit is profit. Always remember to lock in your profits. So right here, 10:17, I had a bounce play right here, right when I saw this candle wick and touch the bottom of my zone essentially and have a good solid size going up. I was like, okay, you know what, this is good volume. 210k versus the other previous candles, they weren't as big. So I was like, okay, 210k, this is a good amount of volume. It's backed up and there's a solid wick right there and it's at the bottom of my zone. So I was thinking at that point it has to go up essentially because it's going to reverse outside of this demand zone. You guys don't know about supply and demand zones. Basically, these zones have these like limited orders that are still waiting to be filled by big institutions or other places or big traders essentially waiting in this zone. As you guys can see, you do graph these zones based on bigger time frames like weekly, hourly, things like that. So I do have this zone down here as a perfect example of how a demand zone works out. As you guys can see, it bounces almost every single time, damn near perfect, which is very nice. But that's something else I'll get into later, honestly. But for this video, just recapping this trade, basically took the bounce right here at 10:17, got into calls, very good entry right here, and basically sold around 10:23. Let's see, not 10:23, my bad, 10:21. So basically sold about here, right here. Honestly, I could have sold at a higher candle right here. So basically for this position or this trade, I got in at 10:17 down here, basically right when it finished this candle right here. When the candle closes, you always want to make sure the candle closes before you enter a trade, just to make sure you don't get trapped into bad wicks, like things like this, for example, or this is really bad. So I waited until it closed, enter at 10:17, roughly got out around 10:22 right here near the top. So this was a really good trade right here, about 12% in terms of call option trading. Again, I do 0 days till expiration for all my SPY plays. I mainly focus on SPY now. I used to trade many other stocks, but now I'm mainly just doing SPY. So just to let you guys know that information ahead of time. So 10:17, 10:22, basically I caught that bounce. It was 10:23, 2022. It was one of these two time frames. I basically caught the bounce, made about a solid 13% off that trade. So it was a really great start to the day. Obviously, I had to wait for this stock to set up properly before I got into that bounce, because as you guys can see here, right when pre-market opened, it opened inside the zone, and I didn't want to risk honestly playing this right here because it broke out of the zone, and that's sometimes when zones get invalidated. I didn't want to wait and risk that, so I just waited, saw a wick right here, just waited a bit longer for it to retest. It retested here, but it didn't get deep enough into the zone. It just jumped back out for some reason, which it happens sometimes. It jumps off the top of a zone, which is completely fine. No price action. This is bad price action right here. Like, this is super wicky. I would just not even be trading over here in general. So I had to wait, hit a tie, made a new high there at least, and then it dropped all the way down here into zone, and this is where I entered and I got out there. So very nice solid play over there. Obviously I could have held it for a little bit long for a tiny bit more profit, but again, higher profit or higher risk, higher reward. So there's that. That's a general trend for just things in general in life. So yeah, there's that trade on the 28th. I believe I had no other trades right here on the 28th. Let me check my notes real quick. Oh, for that trade, I also noted that I did add more to my position at 10:21, just because I noticed that I was having a pretty strong bull up here. So I realized I could have added some more. basically position sizing. So I did add like about 20% more into my initial position at 1021 at the bottom of this red candle right here. So there was that was a good add-in. Usually I don't like to double down, but I did double down there essentially just to make sure that I get a bigger profit percentage, since that trade was basically locked in guaranteed profit at that point. So that was honestly a really good trade that day. Let's move on to March 1st. So March 1st, I had a few plays here, I believe. March 1st, my first play was at 935. I did calls because if you go in pre-market, you do see that we have this massive gap right here. Now you could say the gap technically got filled here, but this was a super slow fill and I was looking for something bigger, so I did realize we had a gap opportunity right here. So I basically got in super early on this day, 935, got into calls right here and then held through all this. You know, this was completely fine, honestly. It didn't move that much, does not scare me. If it doesn't invalidate a play, I would not get out of a trade. Now you can see I also, this candle could have scared a lot of people because I entered around 935, but it did not stay down here. You gotta wait until the candles close, especially 1 minute. 1 minute, I don't like to use a 1 minute chart unless it's for entries or exits, mainly because 1 minute is very, you know, there's a lot of noise on a 1 minute chart. There's a lot of random stupid traders, things like that. There's a lot of random people honestly just trading that don't know too much, so it's just a lot of randomness I just don't like to see. So I usually use 5 minute or above, but just for today's video, of course I gotta go a specific timeline. I will go on the 1 minute chart, but I would have gotten out honestly out of that call trade right there if it broke under the pre-market right here, because if it broke here, then I mean it definitely could have went straight down like this right here, big momentum going straight down like that, especially when it broke here, went straight down. But because it didn't do that, I decided this play is not invalidated. I'm completely fine with decay. Of course this is decay, but because it's so early into the day, the decay is not that strong here, so completely fine holding through this. And guess what, boom, next thing you see, big red or big green candle right here with a stall amount of volume. As long as it doesn't have really low volume compared to the other ones, this is around average volume, I would say. Not too shabby, and good momentum as well based on the size of the candle. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good, and I kept on holding. I got another green candle right here. I still held through this as well, by the way, because I realized whenever it goes up, it doesn't always go up just continuously green candles. It will have some red candles, which are called pullbacks. And as you guys can see, here is a perfect example of pullback right here. So it pulled back down here again, did not invalidate my trade, waited for this to close. Again, it had a really big wick right there, so good signs right there. Essentially this big wick also had a good amount of volume backing that up, so that basically means this wick is pretty valid. But of course it's on the 1 minute time frame, so again that wick doesn't really actually matter that much. I would only look at wicks on like 5 or 15 minute above, honestly. But aside from that, held through this little pullback, nothing problem there, no problem for me. And then basically I sold around 950 ish. So let's go to up here, I basically sold around 950 right here. I could have waited till, you know, but that's basically like what, 1% 2% more profit. It doesn't really matter at that point. That's just high risk at that point if I wanted to wait all the way up to the close to the top of the supply zone. As you guys can see that drawing over here, it didn't hit necessarily the supply zone. My target was obviously the supply zone, but because it's so early into the day, it may not necessarily hit there, and just wasn't enough momentum honestly looking at these candles to hit the supply zone. So I got out around 950, which is almost basically you can call a perfect exit right here. So that was around, you know, let's see, if I check my chart right here, that was around a 24% gain right there. So really nice play right there. So yeah, super solid play right there. That's after decay and everything. So 24% play, really nice play there to start off the day. Now the next play that I had was at 1017, and this was a very quick scalp that I knew for sure because it wasn't really necessarily in any zones. It would be in this pretty gray area, I would call this right here. Wasn't anything zone or key level honestly, but I was just seeing price action, and sometimes you can trade off price action inside like things that are not inside the zone. However, it is more risky, so I did size down a lot for this trade right here. But basically I noticed it had a solid amount of drop here after rejecting up there, and then basically over here I was noticing it was consolidating right here, just consolidating. It was holding this level really well with good amount of volume, as you guys can see. Like volume here was definitely more than previously, so really good volume right here, meaning there's strong level right here. I could have put honestly a level right here, but it didn't really bounce off any other time frames, so It was made more like an intraday level right here, but could have put support level right here. Basically, as you guys can see, it was holding so well. And then we had this big green candle. I was like, okay, this is my chance. Big green candle is most likely gonna go up from this consolidation. Indeed, it did go up. And I basically did not hold this play for too long. Looking for a quick scalp, I got out at 10:23 on this red candle, unfortunately, but it was towards the top of the red candle before it fully closed, so it's completely fine there, honestly. So right there, that was about an 8% play, I believe. I'm not wrong, about 8% right there. So honestly, pretty good scalp right there. Just looking at price action, honestly, based on this one trade right here, nothing else crazy going on there. Again, I could have held potentially for bigger profits, but again, that's just putting more risk on the table. And there's just no need to put big risk, especially when you already won on that day. So it's completely fine, honestly, with that trade right there. And you guys can see it pulled back a little bit more. Didn't hit the support level again. I would have entered again if it did hit the support level and bounced and showed like strength again, but it bounced a bit early, which is completely fine. Sometimes, you know, the stock market can't always predict 24/7 100%, so things like this would happen where it bounces early. You can't really control that. Bounces big momentum up here. You could have gone to like quick calls here, but I would never do that because it's never guaranteed, and that is basically chasing the bag, but in a bad way. That's basically chasing momentum right here. I wouldn't really recommend doing that, especially in a gray area here. I would have done it if it bounced off like a zone or a key level, but did not. So there's that, and then rallied, consolidated, went that down, and basically bounced off to my key level again from the previous day. If you guys remember right here, this is a really big key level, by the way, on a big time frame. Like I'm talking about like weeks. So it bounced off there again. I definitely could have played that, but I did not. I believe at this day, that was basically the done of the day. Could have played this right here. Honestly, this would have been an insane play if I did play this, but I was already basically pretty satisfied with the profits for a day. This would have been a 90% play right here, essentially, with calls in a good strike price, which is insane. And then of course, consolidation at the top means most likely would drop to the bottom, especially consolidating near a zone right here. Didn't hit the zone, but that's completely fine with me, honestly. I wouldn't have played that either way. Moving on to the next day. Alright, so this day on the March 2nd was a really good day. I had, I believe, about 4 trades this day, which is more than my average. I tend to take about maximum 2 or 3 trades a day, 2 or 3 high quality setups a day. If I had to correct that, high quality. You're only looking for high quality. You never want to force a trade. But alright, so the first play I had on March 2nd was at 10:56, and I did a put, and I actually added to this position later on based on my notes right here. But 10:56 essentially right here above right here. So I noticed over here it basically was very weak when it entered this area right here. It was not really moving much, so I did enter right here 10:56, hoping for a put play. I did play puts here, and of course, because of option time decay, my contracts unfortunately decayed over this consolidation area. But honestly, that's not something you can really predict in terms of this consolidation. I was expecting a pretty sharp and fast move going down, but it definitely took a while for that sharp move to happen, but it did indeed happen. That's all that matters at the end of the day, is that you stick to your entry, stick to your plan, stick to your target, stick to your top or stop loss. It's always very important. So as you guys can see, it basically consolidated around this area right here while I was inside the trade. So right here, it basically consolidated. You know, I couldn't do much in here, just had to wait it out until it sees a bigger move. And then basically once I saw that bigger move, I added around, let's see, where is it? I added around, I think it was this candle right here, 1105. I added around 1105 to my position because I realized that was a pretty big candle right there for a consolidation. It definitely like basically broke out of this tiny little zone, you could call it, intraday zone right here. Pretty big candle, definitely engulfed basically majority of all of these little candles right here that are just wicky as hell. These are not, this would not say be a really good position to get into, but held through, stuck to my plan. So basically I added more when I saw that candle. I was not really scared of this next candle right here, honestly, because it didn't not fully engulf the next candle. And of course you gotta see it's at a bigger time frame. I'll only show you guys 1 minute because Webull does this thing where it just resets to the most recent day if I switch time frames. But on a 5 minute, this definitely looked really good to downside. So I basically added over here, which is completely fine with me. It was good position to add more anyway. And then held through this consolidation, was waiting for a drop, and then boom, right here I noticed it's been holding for like the past what, 20 minutes, 30, almost 25-ish minutes, just holding at this level. That means I'm almost certain it's gonna make a drop right here, because look at this consolidation. This is not breaking through at all. It's trying to break, but it's already blowing up previously. Don't forget, you got to consider that. So consolidating at this high essentially of the day, and then basically it broke right here. It basically broke down right here, and then I basically exited this puts around 11:25. So off this big red candle right here, I saw big momentum, big push, exited off the bottom of here. So perfect play right there. Had to hold through a good amount of decay though, but that's no problem, especially because you'd rather hold than take a loss essentially. And I stuck to my plan. So that right there was about a 25% play, and even with decay, so that's really good. Contracts moved pretty well over here on this big drop right here because it was so fast. So that was honestly a really good play right there. 25%, really solid green trade right there. So the next one I would say would be, just to refer back, that play was actually not 25%. I mistakenly said that. That was actually 15%, just to correct that real quick for you guys watching. But aside from that, let's move on to the next trade. Alright, so for this next trade, again, it was a pretty quick scalp right here. It wasn't nothing too crazy, nothing long term. I got in at 13.05 for puts right here because I noticed they rejected this top right here as well. It's been rejecting this level, as you guys can see right here, pretty well. Honestly, it's just wicked out. It's fine, completely fine if it just wicks out, but as you guys can see, this is a pretty strong intraday rejection resistance line right here. It's just been rejecting 1, 2, 3, 4 times already for the past day, or within one day, which is insane. So I realized if it's rejecting so much, I'm gonna get in if I see a red candle. Usually I like to get in when I see confirmation of a candle going my way. So I saw this candle right here at 13.03. It was pretty strong, you know, pretty solid candle, but did not have enough volume, so I had to wait a little bit. Volume picked up right here, and basically this is where I got into puts right here, 13.05, and then I sold these at 13.17. So let's see, 13.17 is roughly right here. So I sold it at this candle. Obviously could have sold at this one, but I was waiting to see for a potential bigger profit. Again, my target was like down here, honestly, for this play right here at the below or the low here previously. But because it didn't hit that, I was completely fine with just selling here for profit. It was about, I think it was, let's see, that was about a 10% play right there. So not bad at all, honestly. Pretty good quick scalp right there, in and out. And finally, I have, I believe, 2 more trades for the second, which is insane. But I had puts at 13.38 for the next trade. So this today was honestly a pretty big put day right here. 13.38, right here. This is honestly a pretty solid trade right here. Yeah, as you guys see, it bowled up really fast. This is super fast. In 2 minutes, it bowled up, let's see what, almost 0.5%, which is pretty big for SPY in just 2 minutes. The span of 2 minutes after all that consolidation, bowled up so strong, and then I noticed, boom, this candle wicked. It started wicking. I was like, okay, it wasn't an insane wick, but however, I realized, you know what, I think I actually had a zone here as well, if I'm not mistaken. I might have removed zones, because sometimes I do remove zones, or if I go on a bigger time frame, I can definitely explain it better. But as you guys can see, this is near pre-market high, I believe. So pre-market high did not break, said it wicked and turned into a red candle. I got into puts, I think, let's see, was it puts? Yeah, I got into puts basically right here, 13.38, right when it closed. And then I decided, okay, get into puts, and I basically sold around 13.40 right here. So that was a quick 20% gain somehow. That was an insane 20% gain. Yeah, that was a pretty insane 20%, really fast 2-minute gain right there. Super solid play right there. And then the last play I had for today was 14.05, and I did puts again. I played puts again. This one is such an easy play right here. This play is basically hitting one of my supply zones right here. So 14.05. Hit the top, or not really to the top, but hit the bottom of my supply zone, and I wasn't seeing enough strength for this to continue bulling up. So I got into puts right when I saw this red candle start to form, or essentially almost close. Waited just a little bit just to make confirmation. Some people wait until the second red candle, which is, honestly completely fine, but it looks so good on a 15 and 5-minute chart that I just got in. So got in, wasn't really high risk, honestly, because the supply zone is up here. I would have took a loss. My stop loss would probably be above right here, 1340, 397.46, but obviously it's not having enough strength to go nowhere there, and it already bowled a pretty good amount already, as you guys can see from the general picture. So got into puts around here, I believe, and then I sold these puts at 14.12. So let's see, 14.12, pretty solid sell right here. I would say could have been better. Sold at this wick right here, as you guys can see, when it wicked down here, and then when it was pulling back, so I'd say, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna sell a position there. Didn't want to take too much risk, especially since these previous 2 red green candles this one did engulf this one, not by much, but this one also, you know, it just wasn't like a trade that I was willing to take on for too long because I was already up a lot for the day. So I realized I'm just gonna sell towards near the bottom of this wick. So I sold there, completely fine with that trade. Honestly, could have made like what, probably like 9% more, but honestly completely fine with that. That would have been with a little bit of decay as well there, so not really 9% more, but you guys get the point. Can never get the perfect sells, but when you guys do get good entries like this one, especially jumping or rejecting off this supply zone, super good entry right there. So honestly, that was gonna wrap it up for the 2nd of March for me. Now I could have done another trade up here where I did a rejection off the supply zone again, but you know, I was honestly at this point done for the day, and it's already almost towards what, when the market closes. Didn't want to honestly play too much later in the day, and if I did, I would go super small size, just because later in the day decay of time data is super strong, contracts move really fast, and decays is awful. So you try to avoid late day plays like this, but I will explain this trade right here. Rejected here, hit the bottom of the previous right here, and it bounced off there again, and then once you see it bounce off, basically this is meaning it's making a lower or higher low. As you guys can tell, basically it's making higher lows every single time right here. So higher lows, let's say in drawing mode, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Basically all these higher lows is making essentially is a pretty clear indication that things pretty strong, so pretty damn strong. So basically it did decide to just start bulling up like crazy. As you guys can see right here, it bulled up like wild, or like bonkers here towards the end of pre-market or towards the end of the market. Bulled up, it rejected a little bit off the supply zone, could have played a quick scalp right there, and then boom, it jumped off and rejected and went hard in the other direction. Usually when it goes out to supply zone like that and it rejects the bottom of the supply zone within the zone, it will usually tend to go up like that. So it went up really strong, and honestly, again, someone could have played that, but that's way too risky in my opinion in terms of time decay and everything. Contracts go to 0% by the end of the day, so you don't want to be risking that. But aside from that, the last day was the 3rd of March. So jumping into the 3rd of March right here, 3rd of March, let's see, I had 2 plays on the 3rd of March. First play was 949. I did puts at 949. So 949, let's see, what was this? 949 puts, the 1006. It was a 1006 right here, 949. This was an interesting play here, honestly. I don't know how I made such good profit off this play. I'm assuming I got out at the bottom of this wick, but 949, I essentially got into puts right here, because it was getting towards my supply zone right here above. As you guys can see, this would have been the demand zone, this would have been the supply zone. Obviously now it got up there, but completely fine with that. So it did hit the supply zone, or getting close to the supply zone. I got into puts here. Wasn't the best entry. I could have waited a little bit more for a higher movement, but you couldn't really predict that necessarily, so had to wait and hold through all of this completely. Honestly, again, always stick to your plan. If I was an emotional trader, I would have lost right here. I would have lost 20% ish, but instead of this play losing 20%, I actually made 20%, made a comeback right here. This is called a comeback, true comeback right here, especially with time decay. Basically when I enter here, let's say I enter a bad position up here because it's close to the top of my zone, I just realized it wasn't strong enough to honestly bull this much. As you guys can see, it was consolidating, wasn't too much bull movement at all, and not insane volume either. So aside from that, basically, I mean, it did bull unfortunately, but it's all good. My stop loss would have been up here, honestly, right above, if it broke above the zone. It did not break above the zone, stayed in the zone perfectly, rejected the middle of the zone, went down, and basically I sold my puts right here. So at the bottom of this big wick right here, 949 was right here, 949, and then it sold up on them here, so roughly about 22% play right there. So that was really good, honestly. Again, that was sticking to your plan, and that was basically a perfect exit right there. Perfect wick to exit off of. When you see momentum like this, sometimes, especially holding it after time decay and seeing something like strong like this, I tend to not like to hold for too much longer. I'll just sell before the candle closes, mainly because, you know, it really shows previous movement of being strong. As you guys can see, it consolidated and boom, went really strong upwards, boom, went on top of the supply zone. Again, you could have played puts up here, but I wouldn't really want to trust playing puts here because you guys can see how strong it was already going up. Don't really like the momentum of playing puts down there, so puts up here. So consolidated for a long time. Whoever was inside here for this long of a time, like 2 hours, I feel really bad. It really sucks, man. Contracts data would have been crazy there. Tons of contracts lost value there, but Basically they got liquidity there, and then they boom, broke, kept on rallying up for the rest of the day. This was an insane day, honestly, how much this has just pulled up. I believe I played calls just like randomly throughout the day, I believe, just to, you know, just play some calls. Let's see where, if I played any calls here. I played calls at 1427, and then let's see, 1427 was roughly right here. I decided, you know what, I've been waiting for a whole day. It's been just going non-stop, straight up. Like, this thing has not stopped at all whatsoever. Very minimal pullbacks, just rallying, continually going up. Very strong movement here. Got into calls 1427, and usually I don't like chasing stuff, but when I do things like this, I tend to not hold for long at all. Sold around 431, 4030-ish, 430, 431. So, you know, pretty quick play right here. Let me see it again. It was 1427. So I basically sold this right here, about a 6% play. So, you know, this is really good, honestly. Pretty quick scalp. I could have honestly held through, and boom, it made a new high. But you never know once it gets this high. Like, this would have been my new supply zone up here. It rejected on top, luckily. But yeah, honestly, once you're in the supply zone, it just gets risky over here. Because I saw so much momentum previously here. Small pullback. I could have entered, honestly, at this pullback looking back, but honestly this wasn't a horrible entry either, because it wasn't showing signs that was going to go against my plan. Completely fine here, and I sold towards almost to the peaks, which is completely fine with me. Good play there to end off the day. That was a really good green day right there. Now the last day I would like to talk about is, of course, Monday. So for Monday, I will tell you guys why I'm saving Monday for last. So Monday is my red day. So basically had 4 green days and 1 red day this week, which honestly is not bad at all. It's not bad of a win rate at all. Like to see it improve a bit more, but of course, more experience, the more like improvements you make. So Monday, let's see. Monday I had 1 really good play in the morning. Honestly, I could have stuck and ended the day there. This is what I mean by over trading. Sometimes when you get overconfident, things happen. This is a key lesson for not just me, but everyone else watching. You guys can learn from my mistakes. I got into puts at 10.55. Let's see, 10.55. Got into puts right here. And I basically sold at 11.25. So sold down here. So this was a really great play already for the day. It was like 30% play right there. Honestly, I should have just ended the day there because I had a really good amount of profit from that trade. But then I realized, man, I was so confident. I got too confident off of this one trade. Decided to overtrade, and you guys usually know how that goes. Once you overtrade, you start taking careless and forcing trades. The main thing that makes people lose after a big green trade is forcing trades, because they're like, damn, I'm so good at this. So basically, essentially what happened, it was a mind game. I decided to play calls somewhere here and just got trapped. It was not good. Took a loss there, and then just, I think it was another loss as well that day. So it was just, once you get that one loss, you're like, damn, I gotta make up for that gain. Never think that way for trading. Always want to think, minimize losses as much as possible. If you really did a really green trade and you lose almost all of that profit, I would just stop for the end of the day. I wouldn't even try like forcing trades, because what I see happen is a lot of people start forcing trades after another. That's how you blow accounts. Do not force trades. Wait for a perfect setup. Like, I should have waited, honestly, could have waited for this play right here where I almost hit the bottom of the zone, worked off. I could have played calls up here. Could have been an insane comeback right here. 30% right there, insane comeback. But no, I was forcing trades, and that's just usually not how it works. You don't want to be forcing trades like that. So again, you could have played calls here. Again, this is too late towards the end of the day though, but just want to teach you guys a quick lesson on the psychology in terms of the market. Don't want to be forcing trades. Never want to put yourself in a position where you are losing the profits you made. The hard work that you put into the profits you made, you're just losing it all. And in fact, ending the day red, which is even worse. Sometimes I'd honestly rather break even. You always rather break even than take another risky trade and then turn red. Because when you turn red, basically you're gonna have to make up for that. Think about it. Next day you're gonna have to make up for all that just to break even again. You gotta think of it like that. When you make a loss, you wanna make sure you're basically thinking, I have to make much more next time to even break even, which is awful. That's an awful like situation, but that happens to a lot of people. So that's just a lesson I really want to just teach all of you guys. I definitely learned a lot from the lesson to stop over trading. Usually I set myself boundaries, like for example, if I lose, let's say 2 trades in a row, I'm done for the day no matter what, unless it's an insane perfect quality setup. Otherwise I'm just done for the day, because what happens is you just again force trades, you don't wait patiently, you're just looking to make that money back quick. So that's what happens. Never want to do that. Never pull a J trades on a Monday. That's basically what happens. So never do that. And hope you guys did enjoy and learn a lot from today's video. I know it's a pretty long review session, but I would like to get very in depth into the market with all of you guys. Hoping to blow up this YouTube channel. I'm saying we're going to the moon this year, baby. 2023 J trades to the moon. Yes sir. You guys are interested in like Discord group chats, things like that, a big community where other stock traders are in, definitely make sure to DM me on Discord. I have my Discord down below. You guys can DM me if you want to join the exclusive paid Discord server that's still currently being like fully, I guess you could say, renovated. You know, we're in the works in progress of setting that up. So if you guys want to support, you know what I'm saying, a local trader, definitely make sure to hit me up on Discord and I'll let you guys know all the info there. But aside from that, man, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and comment down #JTrades. I made it to the end. Yes sir, baby. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.